Okay, welcome. Happy new moon, Leo new moon. It's like fiery, liony new moon, which is just fun and exciting. I'm glad that you're here. If you're here live right now, or if you're here later listening, thanks for participating. And I'm Sheridan Semple, and I am a shamanic astrologer and a spiritual aromatherapist. And we're going to learn today about the new moon in general. We'll learn all about like Leo and what Leo energy means. We'll learn about those two essential oils that support that Leo energy, Cedarwood Himalayan and Cistus. And then we'll kind of learn about what's, we'll do the new moon ceremony. So, grab a candle if you don't have one, if you want to participate in that part. And then we will also finish up with like what is going on astrologically, which has obviously been a banner year astrologically speaking. And this couple of weeks, this time around the new moon, does not fail to deliver, just like every other part of this whole entire year, essentially. So let's just get started, and we'll just kind of create a sacred space. We'll just drop in. If you have some essential oils, or if you have cedarwood and cistus in particular, let's go ahead and use them, anoint ourselves. Anointing is a, thousands of year old tradition. But you can also just start to kind of settle into your body and just into the earth in general, right? Maybe you feel your seat, or you feel your feet on the ground, however you're sitting. You may just start to kind of feel your hips and, just start to bring your awareness into your body and just, letting go of, releasing anything that's been going on in your day before you got here. Right now, we're just going to take this time and focus on the new moon and this Leo energy and what we want to create, set intentions for with our the moon cycle that starts today. So feeling your seat, and then just let the energy drop out of your bottom, your hips, down towards the earth. It can be like a little trickle of energy. It could be like a thread, or it could be kind of like just a pouring out of water, right? Where you just drop and open to the earth and the energy of the earth that we're sitting on through our body, right? Just the physicality of our body connecting into the earth, feeling the earth, feeling the dirt somewhere, the stone somewhere underneath you, right? You may have to go through the floor and the foundation, apartment underneath you, but somewhere there's dirt and the earth, and just let your energy connect into that. Like the roots of the cedarwood tree that we're going to learn about today. Just connecting, bringing your energy below the surface of the earth. So you just feel more grounded, more in your body, more connected to yourself in this moment. And then from that grounded place, bring your awareness to wherever the sun is in the sky. You can see maybe where the shadows are out the window and have an idea of where the sun is in the sky. And knowing that the moon is right there with the sun. That's the place how we know that where the new moon is, because it's right with the sun today. So we can't see it. And the sun and the moon are both in Leo. So that Leo energy is fiery like the sun. The sun and Leo are resonant energy. So what does the sun feel like? Hot and fiery. And Leo is like that as well. And it's like that on the earth for those of us in the northern hemisphere right now, right? It's like August, heat, summer. Where I am, there's a big fire burning. So it's like very Leo, heat, hot, smoky, fiery energy. And like the sun, Leo shines its light, right? It shines a light on everything. It's a very light oriented, fire, intuitive, live by your gut, go by your gut type of energy. And so we just let that energy permeate us as well, connecting into the sun and the moon. And just that warmth of Leo. And just feel the conduction of those energies through your body, through your heart, through the crown of your head, and through the base of your spine. And just take a few breaths like that. Just letting that energy fill your body. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes if they've been closed. And then I will share my screen and we'll look at some slides, because I'm a very visual person, of what's going on right now. Okay, so here's a chart of the new moon, which is actually at 8:42 p.m. A couple of sites say 8:41, but we're pretty close. Mountain time, right? So Eastern time for you, Dave, it's at 10:42 tonight. So we're coming into the time of the exact conjunction, which is the astrological speak for the sun and the moon lining right up together, which you can see right here when I click on the chart and my little animation pops in. We have the sun, which is the bullseye, the moon, which looks like the moon, and actually Mercury is right there today as well. So it's kind of a special new moon, right? And all three are in Leo, which is this little sign here. So the moon and the sun come together, and that makes the new moon, and then Mercury is traveling with them together. So if we look at the sky, we can't see Mercury because it's hidden in the glare of the sun, right? So it's considered that Mercury is in the underworld right now. So that's how ancient people looked at it, because they could track Mercury through the sky when it's in the morning sky before the sun rises, and then the evening sky after the sun sets. And then when it goes with the sun, they considered that the underworld. So it's like this time of where Mercury is hidden, and Mercury represents like our thinking, our brain, our communication, that type of stuff. That's why they'll say during Mercury retrograde that like communication stuff gets messed up. In shamanic astrology, we look at it differently than that, but it is that communication, speaking, talking, voice, storytelling type of energy, and it's hidden with the sun. So that means that it's like a time when we can kind of look what's hidden in our brain and our thinking, right? What do we kind of deny or not pay attention to or keep hidden from ourselves or others, right? So that when Mercury is with the sun, that's a time to kind of look at what's hidden in our thinking and communication styles, right? And the new moon being with the sun means that's the time when the moon cycle starts, right? So the new moon, which we'll look at here in this next cycle. So next slide. So the sun over here on the right, and you can see, I like this slide because it shows all the different phases. So the new moon is hidden in the shadow of the sun, so we can't see it. And then you can see as the quarter starts, the crescent moon, it fills from the right to the left. So the horns of the moon point east when it's moving towards the full moon, which is when you can see the sun shining on the entire moon, so it's completely lit up. And then the same thing, it empties from the right to the left. So the horns ultimately here, which most likely you can see with the crescents, point towards the west when it's almost the new moon, which is, you know, part of what I like to do is increase our awareness of how to follow the actual cycle of the moon in the sky as well. That's a big part of shamanic astrology. Okay, so Leo in particular, all right, so it's a fire sign, and fire is all about the intuitive realm, which is that kind of like gut knowing sort of place, right? It's very actional. It's where you have a knowing and you take action on it, right? Our deepest intuition. It's also what we consider a self-exploration, or some people call it self-interest sign, meaning Leo is all about exploring fire, its element, intuition, to the nth degree, right? That's what self-exploration signs are all about. So it's right-brained, so it's not necessarily like a very linear type sign. And it's a masculine energy, which doesn't mean male, gender, right? It just means a masculine energy, right? It's like fire is masculine, intuition, that type of thing, right? And it's also what we consider an evolution sign. So in shamanic astrology, we say some signs are involution, bringing their spirit down into matter, which is like the earth signs and the water signs. Evolution means like your journey is up and out towards consciousness, which is considered more masculine in energy, where the earth and the involution is a more feminine energetic path. So Leo is an evolution, up and out towards consciousness, right? Towards divinity. That's not to say that the earth doesn't have a divinity, but that's kind of how we talk about it. It's also what we say is the cross quarter time. So at 15 degrees Leo, when the sun reaches 15 degrees Leo, that's the cross quarter. So we're halfway between the summer solstice and the fall equinox. So that happens in Leo. And it's also when Lammas, I can't think of what the little punctuation thing is called right there. Comma, 2 commas. All right, got it. And Lunasa, right? So these two festivals, they're like harvest festivals. Lammas is a Christian type of festival, and Lunasa is a Celtic festival, but they're both like, this is the harvest time, right? If you've got a garden, obviously it depends where you live in the world, but it's like, this is when, you know, everything's coming to fruition as we start to move towards that fall equinox. Leo is also what we say is like this creator type of energy, divinity, right? They're all about making it up as you go along, right? So it's that type of, that's what we mean by being creator, right? Is like, you can just create things as you want, right? There's a sovereignty. It's about learning about the autonomous self. So depending upon where Leo is on your chart, it makes a difference, because if it's your moon sign, then it may be these are the things you already know and are really good at, right? You might be the type of person that's like, oh, I just want to do this now, and you just create it and it's successful and it does well, because it's like it's your moon sign. It's what you already know, you're already really good at. For others of us, it might be like our sun sign or our Venus or Mars sign or our rising sign, and it's a newer thing we're learning about. So it may feel like a resonant energy as I talk about it, but it might be like, wow, I'm learning about my divinity, right? I'm learning about I can create things, right? I'm learning about being a sovereign, autonomous self, okay? So archetypally, Leo is like the enlightened king or queen, right? Because we all have seen examples of the not enlightened king or queen, but Leo is that enlightened, right? They're the head of the community. They like create the world that they want to make around them, right? But with from an enlightened place, so that they are you know, taking care of their people, right? So Leo is the vision carrier. It's a visionary leadership type of energy, right? Creators, we say stars, right? Sometimes celebrities will have a lot of Leo in their chart. It's all about a radiant and radical self-love and self-confidence, right? So if you're a creator and you're connected to your divinity, there's a deep self-love within that, right? Like that energy of the sun, a self-confidence. So this isn't arrogance, right? Arrogance is usually comes from insecurity, right? Not true self-confidence. So we've all been around someone who's really like truly confident, really loves themselves, is really comfortable in their skin. We like that. That feels good because it gives us permission to do that for ourselves, right? So it's a powerful, like a true deep self-love and self-confidence. It empowers others through their radiance, right? Think of Leo like the sun, right? When we're around that, we feel empowered around that energy. We've all been around people like that. Leo is a lot about being seen and showing up big, right? Being that leader, a leading player on the stage of life. They're comfortable being who they are. So again, it may be something you're good at, or it may be something you're practicing and learning about in this lifetime, right? They're generous. Leo's very generous. They're willful. And they have a real freedom of self-expression because again, they're like connected to their divinity and they can make it up as they go along. So Leo asks the question, what is the nature of my divinity and how can I show up as a radiant divine being inspiring others? And the spiritual path of Leo is the realization of sovereignty and autonomy, and thereby the identity with divinity, the development of radiant and radical self-love, the demonstration of one's creatorship. And both those quotes come from Daniel Giamaro, who is the founder of shamanic astrology. And so I threw this slide in there today, and I thought we would invoke that Leo goddess or God energy. So, O radiant and shining one, queen of heaven and earth, inspired by your brilliant love light, we ask that you guide us into the depths of your mysteries. Guide us to fully experience radical sovereignty and genuine, radiant, divine self-love, no matter what is happening in our outer reality. We invite you to bless us with your wisdom, insight, and radiant love, transforming all lower vibrational frequencies into higher vibrational frequencies of the divine love light that you are, we are, so that we truly show up and shine with this luminous love light in all ways, and in so doing, inspire others to do the same. And that comes from Kaylin Castell and Tammy Brunk at venusalchemy.com. And I thought that would just kind of help get us in the Leo vibe. And then also, you know, I mentioned just right at the beginning, anointing. And so anointing with, you know, a spiritual grade essential oil, you know, anointing has this really, really long history, a spiritual history of how we apply plant medicine to ourselves for our own health and healing. And so this quote's from Cynthia J. Oliveira. And it's anointing with a highly focused intention is a rite of passage to reset one's entire being. Essences enter us through inhalation or through the skin and quickly travel to the brain, the bloodstream, the organs, and the fields of energy surrounding our body. They are capable of recalibrating matter, mind, and spirit in an enchanted way. The truth of our divine nature is always present on a cellular level, and the essences, aka essential oils, assist us in this recognition by catalyzing and integrating this untapped source of power. So there's a lot of power in using essential oils, and that's why I like mixing it with shamanic astrology. So the first plant we're going to learn about is cystis, which is also known as rock rose. And cystis, let me get my notes here, is a flowering plant, which you can see here. It's like a little shrub, and it grows anywhere from like 3 to 8 feet tall and wide. It's native to the Western Mediterranean. It's covered with this sticky, fragrant resin. So when you're smelling the cystis, that's what you're smelling is like. It smells like that. It's steam distilled from the leaves and branches of the flowering plant. And the one that I have comes from France. And so here are the uses of cystis. So spiritual and emotional uses. It's like the sun in a bottle, right? It kind of looks like the sun, this picture. So it's very helpful for self-love, right? All of this is very Leo, 3rd and 4th chakras, right? Power and heart and love, very like Leo type of energy at both those chakras. It brings warmth and comfort. Again, very much like Leo. Restores what has been hurt, and it eases the heart. So it settles and quiets the physical, emotional, and spiritual bodies. It softens emotional pain, stress, or shock, and it opens the way towards new understandings and beginnings. And it provides spiritual and emotional immunity. So just using cystis can help cultivate these things in your life. And the physical uses is, cystis is considered the queen of the immune system, which is obviously, you know, front and center in the world right now with COVID. It's used for colds, coughs, bronchitis. It's anti-infectious, so all kind of respiratory stuff. It's a powerful blood coagulant. So when there's wounds and cuts and things, cystis can like help stop the bleeding more quickly. It's a wound healer. It's amazing for skin. So any kind of spots, wrinkles, I've used it on kind of some spots that felt a little like dubious to me and was able to really like clean out and get rid of those. And it's also considered a neurotonic. So it's tonifying to the nervous system, so calming, right? That's where the settles and quiets the physical body comes from, and the emotions. And then the next one is Cedarwood Himalayan. I mean, look at how beautiful this tree is, right? So it's this, you know, tall evergreen tree, a coniferous tree. So conifer meaning has cones. It is native to the Western Himalayas, so in Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Tibet, Nepal. It grows around like 5,000 up to like 10,500 feet. So it's one of the trees and plants that grows, you know, at really high altitudes. It grows up to like 130 to 170 feet tall, and the trunk can be really wide, up to 10 feet in diameter. So it can be it's a big tree. The essential oil is often, or even like the resin is often substituted for more expensive ones like sandalwood in ceremony. So cedarwood Himalayan can be used the way you would use sandalwood. And it's steam distilled from the branches and the leaves. And the one that I have comes from Nepal as well. And so again, look at this tree, right? It's just amazing. You can see from this picture that it, you know, you can kind of get a feel for how big that trunk is and how the branches kind of just grow off at these angles. So it's kind of different looking, but similar to other conifer trees. So spiritual and emotional uses, spiritual strength, right? The trees give us strength, they're grounding. Courage, very Leo types of energy, strength, courage, it's euphoric. Just smelling it, putting it on you can help promote more feelings of euphoria in your life. Again, like that love feelings. Reconnecting to our spiritual awareness, if that's something that you're wanting to cultivate in your life. Self-love, right? Leo, Leo, Leo. Alleviates tension, fear, and anger. It's called Cedrus deodara is the name, the like Latin name, which comes from Deva Daru, meaning like wood of the gods or goddesses. And it's about awakening consciousness. So again, that evolution type of energy we talk about, going up towards consciousness. It's a tree where the sages of Lord Shiva worshipped. It promotes meditative consciousness. It opens channeling to the divine, right? So it's just all, this is so Leo, Leo, Leo. Physical uses adrenals and kidneys, the skin, like eczema, but all kinds of skin stuff, hair loss, baldness, scalp ailments, detoxification, which all the conifers help with detoxification, decongestant of the respiratory system, like bronchitis, that type of stuff, hemorrhoids. It's an aphrodisiac, so it aids specifically in if you're suffering from like a lack of sexual energy. It helps the lymph system, it helps with headaches and mental instability where you're just feeling off balance. It can help bring you back to center. Okay, let's move into our new moon ceremony. So we do this because we want to set our intentions, which we'll see in the next slide, but the point of doing the ceremony or ritual around the new moon is just bringing our consciousness and our awareness to the natural world and what's going on naturally, energetically, and kind of co-creating our lives with it, right? So it's knowing about what phase the moon is in, being able to look up at the sky and know where the moon is, or maybe we're Mercury or Venus, you know, so that we're moving back towards our ancestral or indigenous roots of being connected to the sky and the environment around us. And I always say I like to create one intention, right? It's a time of planting a seed for this 29.5 day moon cycle, right? So one intention during this time, because I think it can be easy when we do ceremony or set intentions to just lay out our laundry list of things we want to do or accomplish or goals that we have for ourselves. And it's too much, right? It's like overwhelming. So I think it's nice to kind of chip away at that huge laundry list with like one thing at a time for one moon cycle. Okay, so as we begin to think about what intention you would like to set, I'll say this prayer to the new moon. Under this new moon, I am grateful for a new beginning. I invite my soul, my guides, and spirit to guide me in setting my intention for this moon cycle. Honoring my ancestors and my indigenous roots, I connect consciously to the new moon with my light, my heart, and love. May I be in alignment with spirit in setting an intention that supports the evolution of myself and my soul. I hold this knowing in my heart and trust that I will get there. I am one with the moon and spirit, and so it is. I will stop my share and we will settle into what is the one intention we want to set today. So we'll just take a few minutes. Maybe close your eyes again. Maybe you already know what the intention is you want to set, but if not, then we'll just take a moment, kind of settle back into our bodies. We've been looking at slides, so thinking with our brains, and settle into that connection we have with the sun and the moon and this Leo energy. You could re-anoint yourself with the essential oils or just a smell. Just kind of that bridge connecting you back into the earth and thinking of what is one intention, one seed you would like to plant for this moon cycle. And then I'll be silent for just a couple minutes and maybe you can write it down, say it to yourself, however you would like to mark this moment and set this intention. Maybe we'll just take a few more seconds to come to completion with that. And then taking your candle, if you've got one, lighting it. Maybe it's already lit. Maybe it's not. Mine wasn't. And you can burn your intention in the candle. You could, if you didn't want to write it down or you want to save it so you know what it is and you remember, you could also speak it into the flame and then blow the flame out and let the smoke rise up to the moon, however suits you. I'm going to mute myself and do both. Does everyone feel complete with that? A little thumbs up if you're good. Okay. All right, then I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to look at what is going on astrologically right now. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, so here's the chart we looked at before, right? So the sun and the moon and Mercury over here, which we talked about already. And then the next piece is the piece that we've been talking about all throughout this whole entire year is Saturn, the brown one, Pluto, the kind of purple blue one, and Jupiter, all traveling close together, conjunct within 10 degrees, right? So Jupiter is at 18 degrees Capricorn, Pluto's at 22 degrees Capricorn, and Saturn's at 26 degrees Capricorn. And they're all retrograde right now as well. So it's this, you know, it's what people have been talking about is, you know, being illuminated through the pandemic and just all the heavy stuff that's been going on this year. It's like pandemic plus, right? So Saturn, and I'm just going to reiterate what I keep saying, Saturn is this like middle world planet, meaning like here in the physical real world, quote unquote. And it is all about like what works, what doesn't work, what structures work, what structures are not working, what systems work, what systems are not working, right? That type of energy of like, what actually works in the real world. So like sometimes people be aware of like their Saturn return happens when you're 29. And that is this time of figuring out like what's working in your life and doubling down on that and getting rid of what's not working in your life, right? So that's kind of what's happening on a collective, right? We're seeing like, you know, another really strong go around on the whole like anti-racism movement, right? It's got that feel of like the oh my God, I want to keep saying like the Civil War, but it's not the Civil War. It's the Civil Rights Movement. Oh my gosh, right? So like that would be a structure or a system that's getting, you know, huge hit on wanting to change and move it into a direction that works better, right? Like how our supply chains, how we live our lives, right? A lot of clients and people I've talked to have been using this time of being like sheltering at home, of like, they've been getting more in touch with themselves, or slowing down, or spending more times with their family, or, you know, so it's like, we're starting to get, we're getting an opportunity to see like, what do I actually really want to have happening in my life, and what do I not want to be happening in my life? And so with Pluto there, Pluto is an underworld planet, and Pluto is all about, you know, that hidden stuff that we talked about with Mercury, right? Where it's like, to get to the place of Saturn's teaching, right? And again, this is all about an intention, right? As above, so below, meaning Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter being together aren't doing anything to us. They're just reflecting a collective intention that we have right now that is playing out in the pandemic. So Pluto being underworld means we have to look at what's hidden, what's in the shadow, what we've been denying around, to come to a place of creating the new systems and structures. And then Jupiter just expands whatever it touches. So the level of intensity that we've been experiencing that just keeps on going, that's what Jupiter shows us, right? It's like dropping steroids onto this conjunction, and it's going to be like this through the whole rest of the year, right? They keep traveling together. Now we add in Mars over here is square this whole entire setup, right? So it's at a 90-degree angle from what's the stellium, or what I've been calling like the big three. So now we're adding in this like intention around like the masculine energy in the world, right? And so there's a place of like this masculine energy in Aries, which could be almost kind of like a stereotypical masculine sign of that like warrior type of energy, is getting into the mix. So the divine masculine's coming into this, meaning like there's wanting something can be supported by a healthy masculine, or a breaking down of the masculine energy that we don't like and isn't working for all of us, male or female, right? And then one more piece we add in is Venus, the little green character there, which is the divine feminine, is opposite that big three, right? And is square to moving into, it's at 10 degrees, but through later in this month, it will be opposite and square. It'll be square to Mars and then opposite the big three. So all of a sudden we have this like divine feminine energy coming into play of how do we want to shift and change the structures of what's going on. What have we been denying? What has been hidden? What have we subjugated, with masculine and feminine coming in to support this, creating something better, something new that works for all of us, male and female. So I feel like we're kind of coming into a potentially like a turning point, or the attention is there for a turning point of things to start shifting for us. But that big three are traveling together through the rest of the year. So it's not like everything's going to change real quick. It just means that I think we have this opportunity of maybe starting towards a tipping point of what it is we want to be creating from that masculine and feminine perspectives in the world. So I think it's kind of exciting, even though there's obviously a lot of intensity of what's going on, and none of that is going away anytime soon, that's for sure. So okay, that's it for the official part of the class, and I'll end the recording in a moment, and then we'll do all the Q&A for anyone who wants to stick around. And the next class is on the Virgo new moon, which will be Thursday, September 11th at 4 p.m. Mountain. The essential oils we'll be learning about for that are blue spruce and white sage. Also, I'm teaching a workshop this Friday from 5:30 to 7:30 Mountain on shamanic astrology and spiritual aromatherapy. So I'll include the link if you're interested in signing up for that. And we'll just we'll bring your charts, and we're going to learn about that and learn about essential oils that support the different parts of your chart. And you can always get any of the essences from me on my website, SheridanSemple.com, or do a reading with me or anything like that. And I thank you all for being here today.